Kishimoto was teasing the biggest comeback of his favorite character, and it took us 7 whole chapters to understand. Back when the Shinju clone of Sasuke began to question reality, it was clear that something was off about him. He tends to observe his surroundings and think quietly, an attribute which is clearly missing from the other Shinju's demeanor. Take a look at all these panels. You can clearly see how Hidari's muted expression creates an unusual and mysterious vibe. He definitely stands out in the Shinju group, not just because of his silent nature and introspective tendencies, but also due to the fact that he was born from the Chakra of Sasuke Uchiha. And the reason I believe he would revive and secretly regenerate his human counterpart is not found in any of the chapters, so just hit that sub button to sign the petition of bringing the OGs back, and let's begin. We all know Sasuke was the favorite character of Kishimoto in the original story, so much that he literally got his fate foreshadowed in the very first cover page of Boruto. While the original idea behind making Sasuke the mentor of Naruto's son was inspired from Dragon Ball Z, where Piccolo had taken Gohan under his wing after the death of Goku. But the case of Boruto and Sasuke was pretty different, since the master needed to be sealed away due to the rising stakes in the story. It may seem like the temporary exit of Naruto and Sasuke from the story was a consequence of their own actions, but I like to believe that the reason behind sealing both of them was to keep them alive, as their passing would have cost a lot to the franchise. The way they turned Sasuke into a tree, which is amped up by the Ten Tails chakra, was also a clever move, not just because it gave birth to his Shinju clone, but due to the possibility of this tree having some regeneration powers. The idea comes from the Thorn Soul Bulb, a fruit-like object which emerges from a defeated Shinju, containing the entire essence of the victim human being. I believe that it holds a complete blueprint of Sasuke's being from the moment his chakra was absorbed by the Ten Tails. When Sasuke was bitten by the claw grime and turned into a tree, the genetic signature of his physical body, including his missing left arm as well as the destroyed Rinnegan, were transferred to the chakra which formed his Shinju clone. This may be why Hidari doesn't have the same amputation as his counterpart, and even his name translates to left arm, which may be another hint for Sasuke gaining his missing arm back. I may be overanalyzing, but the fact that his right eye is also covered with the tree can also be taken as a hint for the regeneration of the Rinnegan. The missing features were not necessarily erased, rather they were transformed and stored within the tree's network, which is also linked to the Shinju entity. The bulb, as the concentrated essence of that process, could act like a seed that revitalizes Sasuke's original form once the transformation gets reversed. Here's a good example to understand this. Sasuke lost his left arm at the end of the 4th Great Ninja War, when Naruto's Rasengan clashed with his Chidori in their final battle, leaving him with a permanent physical change. However, his DNA, the genetic code that he passed down to Sarada, remains fully untouched by that loss. It still carries the complete instructions for a human body with 2 arms, cause the injury was made to his physical form and not to his genetics. This is why Sarada has full limbs, despite Sasuke's missing arm, much like how in real life a parent's injury doesn't rewrite their DNA to affect their child. In case of the Thorn Soul Bulb, Sasuke's essence could hold his full potential, and since the only job of these items is to either retrieve the original human being or the Shinju, I feel like it's a secret setup to buffing Sasuke that none of us have taken notice of. Now what if I told you the same item will be responsible for Hidari's redemption, along with his rise to betray his boss Jura? When the Shinjus first appeared, Hidari was the only one who started questioning his identity as well as this reality, while Jura assured him that these questions do not hold any value and he should focus on the things that matter, which is to listen to his instincts and act accordingly. But even though he did try to achieve his target once by giving Sarada a tough match, which could have proven a success if only Boruto had not come to her rescue. What followed Hidari after this was an inevitable death, which released the Thorn Soul Bulb out of his body. Luckily for him, Jura got the bulb back and revived him on time, but this revival could have done something that even Jura himself has no knowledge about. What's unique about Hidari is the stoic approach that he has been taking in all the endeavors of the Shinju. The only time when he went violent was when his instinctual target appeared in front of him. Other than that, he remains silent and thoughtful, which at first may seem like an aftermath of him trying to decipher his identity, but unlike Jura, who's also in search of answers, Hidari's contribution to a group conversation is almost always negligible, and whenever he appears in the manga, he seems to be either observing something or busy with with his thoughts. So the very first reason that I believe could be a key to understanding Hidari's different demeanor could have something to do with Sasuke's chakra, which originally played a role in his creation. In the Naruto universe, chakra often carries a person's will or spiritual imprint. The greatest example would be the Sage of Six Paths, whose chakra lingers long after his death, carrying his spiritual signature. His will was so potent that it had split into the chakra of his sons, Indra and Ashura, and continued to influence their reincarnations across centuries. So chakra often acts like a signature of a person's soul or purpose, shaping how it's used and felt by others. By this we can conclude Sasuke's strong resolve to protect the Hidden Leaf village and his loved ones, particularly Sarada, could have imprinted onto his chakra. This could mean that Hidari, while initially driven by the Shinju's instinct to consume Sarada, could soon awaken the protective instincts of Sasuke over time. For example, Hidari's silence and introspective moments hint at Sasuke's will subtly influencing him, potentially leading to a betrayal of the Shinju's goals in favor of Sasuke's original mission. Now, the reason his revival could be the turning point of everything is due to the concept of chakra rebirth. The sons of Hagoromo or Sasuke not only inherited his chakra but also his spiritual legacy. After their deaths, their rivalry and opposing ideologies did not fade away. Instead, their chakra infused with their wills continue to thrive in the cycle of reincarnation. This wasn't a literal soul transfer, but a metaphysical persistence of their chakra's essence, seeking out new vessels who resonated with their spirits. Judging by how rebirth played a great part in ending the cycle of hatred, which originated with Indra or Sasuke and ended with Sasuke, the comeback of Hidari from the Thorn Soul bulb could have also come with the consequence of him unlocking more essence of his human counterpart into his body. This means all the stoic moments of observations were just an after effect of Sasuke's essence, and ever since he got revived in chapter 13, the spiritual pressure has enhanced in his body, and here is why I believe so. The normal formation of a Shinju takes away the victim's chakra through the tree's network, which is connected to these platforms from the Ten Tails dimension, likely the same ones which projected the essence of Momoshiki and the others. So the spiritual pressure of the claw marks as well as the Ten Tails chakra is likely way higher in the natural creation of these beings, but once they die and form a soul thorn, the item seems to inherit the whole essence of the human being, explaining how it can be used to revive the victims. But when the same bulb is used to bring the Shinju back, most of their chakra may have been humanized, lowering their Ten Tails instincts altogether. This explains why they may have been giving us these stoic panels of Hidari from the last few chapters. The revival could have enhanced the amount of Sasuke's essence in his body, which means he is now at the perfect spot to solve his identity crisis. Now here is something which may have crossed your mind. In the recent chapters, Jura talked about the concept of love and how it's a strange thing which holds a strong influence over human beings. When Hidari questioned if it's a disease in response to his statement, it was a clear reflection of his life as Sasuke, since he also used to see love as a traumatic concept, no less than a disease. So the influence is pretty inevitable, but here is where it all gets interesting. You may have seen Jura recapping the whole Matsuri incident live, possibly because he's the main sentient Ten Tails who can feel what his henchmen are going through. So if Hidari has somehow unlocked more of Sasuke's essence to a point that it could turn dangerous for the other Shinjus, don't you think Jura should have already caught the sight of it based on the Matsuri incident? Well, yes, but in this case it's a no, and here is why. The essence of Sasuke that Hidari has awakened emerges from the Soul Thorn bulb, which may be a reference to this item containing the soul of the victim. In this scenario, the soul is synonymous to consciousness, a concept different from chakra. So if the consciousness of Sasuke has started to affect Hidari on a deeper level, which may be why he would betray Jura, then no matter what the Shinju boss would do, he would never be able to catch the change of heart witnessed by Hidari. The other big reason for me to believe in Hidari awakening the feelings of Sasuke has something to do with the instincts that Jura mentions every now and then. Normally, the closest person of an individual becomes the instinctual target of their Shinju. These instincts are likely born from the feelings of love, which persuade the Shinjus to kill the certain target, since their existence makes them feel uneasy. Well, that's what Matsuri said in the last chapter, but what are the chances of this reasoning to be the same for everyone? The love of Matsuri for Konohamaru seems to have emerged from the romantic feelings of Moegi, but the case must be different for all the other Shinju. For example, Mamoshi made Aida his target, likely due to the fake feelings of love that were aroused in his human counterpart Bug as a result of her charm. So we can assume Mamoshi to be the most merciless Shinju of them all when it comes to attacking the instinctual target, due to the fact that he never actually loved or admired Aida. But the case is different for Hidari, since he did not express himself the same way as Matsuri when he was about to devour Sarada. He simply asked her what will he obtain after devouring her, and that's when he got interrupted by Boruto. But now that both Ryu and Masuri are on the verge of defeat, I believe Hidari's plans will also change due to one solid reason. He would realize that trying to devour the people whom they feel a connection to is not the ideal solution of the Shinju problem, and after Sasuke's essence would take over every cell of his body, he might actually end up awakening the other vital instincts that would bring him one step closer to betraying Jura. Right now, the instincts of the Shinju are attracting them towards an individual. It may be a mystery to them since they don't know about the bonds that their pre-evolutionary form shared with them. But if you think about it, love shouldn't be the sole driving force of the Shinju's instincts. Reducing their instinctual desires to just love oversimplifies their nature and the complexity of their counterparts' feelings. For Hidari, the love for Sarada is definitely a factor feeding his devouring instinct, but Sasuke's instincts also include a strong drive to protect Konoha from external threats that he accumulated over the years by battling enemies like the SASUKE'S, which solidified his role as the Shadow Hokage of Konoha. This protective instinct could equally shape Hidari in the upcoming times, pushing him beyond merely targeting Sarada out of affection to embodying Sasuke's vigilance against the outside forces, which might potentially even turn him against the goals of Jura if Konoha gets involved. Not to mention, Sasuke shared a tendency to betray others back in the day, from abandoning Team 7 to join Orochimaru, to later turning on Orochimaru himself, and even briefly aligning with Akatsuki only to reject them. Sasuke's history reveals a pattern of calculated betrayal, driven by self-interest and shifting loyalties, rooted in his singular force on revenge and later his own vision of justice. For Hidari, who's born from Sasuke's chakra and infused with the Ten-Tails instincts, this trait will not just vanish, but would manifest as a willingness to break alliances when they no longer serve his purpose. While Hidari initially aligns with the goals of Jura to target people like Boruto, Sasuke's protective instincts for Konoha and Sarada, coupled with his ingrained distrust of authority, could clash with the Shinju's instinctual agenda. So there's definitely a chance for Hidari to mirror the early betrayals of Sasuke by turning on Jura, perhaps also sabotaging the Shinju from within, or choosing to act alone to prioritize his own instincts over the group. So in a nutshell, it can be concluded that Jura has neither figured out the instincts of his fellow Shinjus properly, nor the revitalization of Sasuke's essence upon the revival of Hidari, which may be why he hasn't sensed his incoming betrayal yet. As for the theories stating Hidari becoming Sasuke, I don't personally believe in them since they would take away all the build-up of this character as a Shinju, even though it would be a good plot twist. But I'm more inclined towards seeing him follow the instincts of Sasuke and start taking actions accordingly, till the point when he himself gives away his Thorn Soul Bulb to Sarada to revive her father. If you are interested in some more mind-boggling Sarada theories, check out these videos right now. I will see you next time.